We're turning now to one of our top stories. New York police are investigating the death of Academy Award winner Philip Seymour Hoffman. The 46-year-old actor was found dead of an apparent drug overdose in his apartment Sunday morning. His body has been removed from the building. The actor revealed last year that he had battled drug addiction in the past and had spent time in rehab. Jason Gorber is a critic with twitchfilm.com in Toronto. Jason, you have had the pleasure of meeting Philip Seymour Hoffman a couple of times. What did you take away from those meetings?
They were relatively brief meetings. I sort of had a lifelong mission to go to all the cast members of Big Lebowski and thank them personally. So I saw him at TIFF and we talked a little bit about the film. I mean, the guy was a gentleman. You could sort of completely tell on screen just how charismatic and amazing it was. He was a true actor's actor and a wonderful character performer. And the loss is hitting those of us that love cinema very, very hard.
Outside of the Big Lebowski, which roles do you think he will be remembered for the most?
Yeah, I mean, I said on Twitter today, if the only films he ever did were Big Lebowski, and I mean, there's so many that he did, but if he only did Big Lebowski and Boogie Nights, Scotty J and Boogie Nights, he'd be remembered forever. He did he started out doing stuff like as character pieces in films like Son of a Woman. Then he did Hard Eight, the first Paul Thomas Anderson film, and from there, he really became one of these incredibly engaging, charismatic people on screen. He showed up then in blockbusters. He's in Twister. He's one of the best parts of Twister, 1996. And so you start seeing, like, who's that guy? Why am I seeing him? Obviously, Lebowski is so huge. But there's a film that a lot of people haven't seen called Happiness. He plays a character named Alan. And it is the amazing mix of tragic and comic and the tonal balance that he could pull off like very, very few. And again, Lester Bangs and Almost Famous knocks it out of the park. This is a guy that could completely inhabit a role and make you completely feel for him, so you weren't just watching a performer work the way that you expected him to work and just see something astonishing on screen.
Did he ever explain how he went about choosing which roles he wanted to take on?
Not that I know of. I mean, there's going to be so much stuff. It is such a shock, first of all. He was 46 years old, so we're just getting now sort of to grasp. I was just in Sundance, and he was promoting 2 films there. So there's all of these discussions that will come up about his process, about what he was like in a role. I mean, if the stories would be true, it's still very early times about what actually happened. He was somebody that struggled with addiction at one point in time in his career, and he definitely, once he got out of that, he was choosing incredibly redemptive roles, for lack of a better word. You saw roles in films like Doubt, or even stuff, look, he did popular stuff like Hunger Games. The last couple of Hunger Games films are meant to have his character as a major role, so we'll see where that's going through. I also would like to point out that when he shows up, the man would do a film like Mission Impossible 3 on the one hand, and the other hand, he would do these 2 films that played Sundance. He did God's Pocket, which was directed by John Slattery, the guy from Mad Men, and a film I saw called The Most Wanted Man. Now, he plays the disheveled German spy, smoking cigarettes like crazy, and he looked like the spent guy. He was only 46, but he looked much older, and he played much older. Now, I'm not getting into the sort of psychology of what he was physically. He was a big man, and he was certainly a haggard man that lived a hard life. But nonetheless, he inhabited this character, so you felt the gravitas of what he was doing. The film itself is an interesting take. It's a Jean Le Carré sort of spy film. But again, what was it, 10 days ago, I saw this film. We talked one of the things that we talked about when we were doing the Sundance coverage. And you could just see, as good as the film was, he was amazing. There's so many films. If people can go back and watch his work in Magnolia, people go back and work his Punch Drunk Love or The Master, go check out this film, and it's a tragic loss, but at least it'll get people watching his films again.
A major loss for Hollywood and for the theater as well. Jason, thanks very much.
Thanks so much, Scott. All the best.